Christmas in July, I thought it would be very appropriate. Hello and welcome to Tejedora Knits. My name is Gladys. I am a knitter based out of Southern Nevada here in the United States. And today we are going to be talking about everything that I have been knitting for the past couple of weeks. I have a very eclectic spread of projects. I have summer knits, I have some fall knits, I have Christmas cast-ons already, Christmas in July. I thought it would be very appropriate. So a fun little mix of things going on. So let's get into it. So we have some interesting weather going on right now. We have both a severe thunderstorm advisory and a dust storm advisory going on at the same time. So needless to say, the lighting is not great today. So we are making do with the indoor lights. But let's get started with the one finished object that I have. It's been 2.5 weeks since I last filmed, have been quite busy. So my knitting time has not been plentiful nor abundant, but I did get in, little bits of knitting here and there. So let's start with the first finished object that I have, which is actually a crochet piece. So this is a crocheted hat. It is a Stroll Hat by Yamagara, and it is made with a 2.5 millimeter hook on fingering weight, Japanese style washi paper yarn. I'm not sure what the exact name is for this. The yarn that I use is actually from Purl Soho, because I was having a hard time finding, Japanese yarns that would ship to me for an reasonable price point. So I found an appropriate yarn from Purl Soho. It is actually a lace weight yarn, which I held double. The name of it is called Handwritten, and it is 100% organically grown cotton made in Japan in the washi paper style technique. So I held it double to achieve a fingering weight gauge. I made the second size mostly because my tension was a bit tight, and this is how it looks. I think it is so cute. It's kind of like a bucket style hat. I use hats quite a lot because I need a lot of sun protection during the summertime. A little modification that I did, I added on 2 extra rows of these little fan lacy motifs, just so that the brim would be a little bit longer, and just again provide better sun coverage. The color of the yarn is Wild Hyacinth, and I really enjoy the finished product. The brim kind of rolls up a little bit, which I think is super cute. The color I think is beautiful. I think it goes well with my skin tone. It is a bit more of a cooler toned color, and I'm excited to have this piece in my wardrobe. I think I'm going to get some good use out of it. So fun fact, the yarn for this project was a bit of a fun find. So first of all, it was super discounted already on the Purl Soho website. It was, I want to say 40% off or 60% off, one of the two. So the yarn was already discounted to, I want to say $4.99, give or take. And shipping was going to cost me $10 because I was not interested in purchasing more things to meet that $85 free shipping threshold. So it was going to be about $25. I had a $25 coupon code for Purl Soho that was expired, but I decided to give it a shot anyways. I'm like, you never know, what if it works? And it did. It did work. So I paid a total of 50 cents for the 100 gram little cone for this yarn. And the pattern was $5.63 US after conversion. So we can just round it to like $5.50 and 50 cents. So we can say this was a $6 project, which is absolutely incredible. It is beautiful. I'm sure I'm going to get really good use out of it. And crochet, I hadn't done any crochet for quite some time, and this worked up so quickly. It was just really fun. I think I'm going to try and do at least one crochet project per year, just to, keep the skill alive. And I think it is a fun little alternation from knitting every now and then. So this is the one finished project that I have. It took me a total of 37 days. Not knitting or crocheting, I guess, monogamously. This was very much in a rotation of just working on it here and there. But overall, it was a really, really enjoyable project. The pattern was very clear and easy to follow, so I would recommend if you are looking for a fun, quick crochet accessory pattern. So this is the only finished object that I have, so let's just move straight into the works in progress. get started with my flock project because this is the next project that is taking priority to finish up. And this is the Palm Springs tank by Knit California. And as I mentioned, this is the piece that I will be wearing to Flock Fiber Festival. Let me know in the comments below if you will be attending Flock. It will be my first time going to any sort of fiber yarn event. My next video is going to be all about how I am planning for it, because you better believe I am planning very carefully and meticulously for this, because it's not something that I get to do very often. So I'm going to make sure it counts. So I'm going to be attending with one of my, with my best friend, and we're going to be making these matching tanks. So I had mentioned in the previous podcast how I was having such a hard time with the pickup rate for the folded over finishings. I had to try various times. It was not the most pleasant experience, but you know, I moved past that. You know how some people, how there are these like my knitting pet peeves videos. I watch them for fun. You know, I really actually don't have any knitting pet peeves up until I did this and I realized folded hems are my absolute pet peeve. I despise a folded hem. Oh my God, just something about having to knit double the length, having to stitch down every individual stitch. Like, it was just incredibly annoying. And just the thought of knowing that I have to stitch down every single stitch for the folded hem on the bottom. No more folded hems for me. And I'll talk more about that in my next WIP. But since the last podcast, I have done the bust darts. Wait, this is the front side. I did the bust darts. They're not included in the pattern, but I figured out how to make them with the help of this resource by, I think it's Tamara Jordan. I'll leave it linked down below, but it was a really good resource. So I kind of did some math and did some finagling and I figured it out. I made it work. I definitely think that on any sort of more fitted, tailored type of tops, I will definitely be adding in bust shaping. Because this one was stuck on it, it was really easy. But now that I kind of understand how it works, I think I could do it even when I have to work in pattern. So we'll see. But for this one, I managed to do it successfully. And now I'm just knitting away and stockinette, a sea of stockinette island. So I have a little marker here. I did try it on yesterday and I decided that I want to do 5 inches plus the folded hem starting here from the marker. So I really want to make sure that this is not cropped, because I come to that mistake a lot with, I've noticed with my hand knits, I love a good cropped tapered body, but if I ever want to wear it with non-high-waisted pants, which are very few and far between, but you know, every now and then I have a mid-rise pant instead of a high-rise, and I personally don't want to be showing my midriff. That's just not for me. It's not my vibe. And also I can't wear my knits to work if I'm showing my stomach. That's just not going to happen in the workplace. And I'll be honest, most of the time when I get dressed up, it is for work. So I really want to make sure that this is a good full length. So I have quite a ways to go as far as the body, but I did finish the more intricate things, meaning like the armholes, the neckline, all of that. I'll be honest, I haven't enjoyed this pattern as much as I thought I would. I was kind of chatting with my friend. It's kind of like, I wish we had chosen another pattern, but we are in too deep now. We are too far in. Flock is coming up in just about a month, so it's too late. So we have to keep on going. But I will say the saving grace has been the yarn. The yarn is absolutely lovely. This is a color that my camera has quite a hard time picking up, but it is a beautiful peacock teal. This yarn is from Ruby and Roses. It is on their soft rose base, which is a 85 superwash merino, 15 nylon. I think those are the ratios. But this is from her Downton Abbey collection. This is the color Glow Up, and I absolutely love and adore this color, this yarn. It even smells nice. She adds some sort of rosy wool wash situation to this because it smells beautiful. But anyways, the color is absolutely stunning. It has lots of depth. It has the tiniest hints of navy speckling every now and then, but still very much a tonal yarn for sure. This yarn is just beautiful. I'm incredibly excited to wear this finished object, even though this is turning out to be a product knit and not a process knit, but that is fine. It is a wool, it is a fingering weight tank, so I'm not exactly sure how the Seattle climate is going to be. I've only ever been to Seattle in the winter time. I'm hoping that it's not as hot as it is here in Las Vegas, so we will see. But anyways, flock is going to be held indoors at the convention center, so either way, it'll be absolutely perfect for flock, which is the main intent and purpose of this. So this is going to be my priority knit. I should have it done by the next podcast because it will be go time by then. So that is the first WIP that I have. The next WIP that has gotten some attention in the past few weeks is my Movement Tee by Lily Kate Makes. So this is a DK weight compounded raglan t-shirt. I'm knitting this in Purl Soho Serif, which is a DK weight 100% Pima cotton, and the colors, I think it's Blue Creek and Gray Birch. I'll leave them listed down below, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's just, you know, the blue and the gray. I have been struggling a bit with this project, mostly because it is incredibly heavy. I am working on my last ball of yarn right now. So this is going to be an almost 400 gram cotton t-shirt. So it is very heavy. And this is definitely going to be a fall, spring, winter project. I mean, wearable. This by I can't. It might work okay in like the really cold AC. So the neckline is really high and it's slightly fitted. It's not super fitted, but it's tight enough for it to feel a bit uncomfortable in the summer heat. So I think this in the winter time will be really cool. It does get cold here in Las Vegas in the winter, but in my office it's so hot in the winter time. So I need to wear a short sleeve and then layer a sweater on top. So I think this one will work really well for the winter time for work for myself. So what I have done since the last update, I have finished both of the sleeves. So I know I am totally off in the stitch count because it's been really hard to keep track of where I am in the pattern. To be fair, I did put it away for a couple of months. It was on hold. So it was also extra hard to come back and figure out exactly where I was in the pattern. But I usually rely on reading my stitches as opposed to like counting them. But with this textured yarn, it's been really hard to read my stitches. And I know I'm totally off in the repeats at some point in time. So anyways, I went back and I did the sleeves. And this one also has folded edges. And that's where I was like, I could not bring myself to do a folded edge. I could not do it. So I just did some ribbing and I think it looks perfectly fine. I think it's 4 rows of ribbing and then a tubular bind off. I'd rather do a mile of tubular bind off than have to do a stitch by stitch sewn off bind off situation. So I ended up going for ribbed sleeves. Nice little, I think it's like a good mid-length sleeve, not too short, not too long. I'm not a fan of like little tiny cap sleeves. So this is, I mean, it's a very teacher type sleeve like the one that I'm wearing right now. So I'm working on the body. It's a 4-stitch raglan. So the raglans are a bit thicker. And it does have like these sort of eyelet type of deals on the sides. I'm not sure if you can fully see that on camera. So the thing is, I'm curious to see how the length is going to end up because let me show you what I have left of the white. This is all I have left of the white. So the stripe repeat, it has these little stripes are 2 gray, 2 blue, 2 gray, 2 blue, 2 gray. And then it has 10 rows of blue and then it repeats. So I just have one more. I'm about to start a blue stripe and then one more white stripe and then another chunk of 10. So I'm going to try it on after I finish the next chunk and see how the length is looking because there's no way I can get more than one more stripe out of this. But my thought is, I was kind of complaining that the neckline is quite high up, higher than I prefer. I generally don't like things tight around my neck whether it be halter tanks or turtlenecks. I don't like it either way. So I was thinking, if needed, the inside of the neckline is in white. So what I could do potentially is unwind, unbind, and unsew all of this situation. Take away graft all of this yarn, harvest all of this yarn, and then go back and just do a slight ribbing situation, kind of like the same that I did for the sleeves here. Maybe just perhaps 3 or 4 rounds of ribbing and then cast off. So that way the neckline doesn't feel so thick, and it's also just, you know, more wearable. Ooh, the sandstorm is really picking up out there. Hopefully you guys can't hear that on camera because it's getting a bit interesting out there. Sorry, I'm the official sweaty person, so we're sweating now too. Anyways, so we'll see. I'm not in a particular rush to finish this, but just because it's been on my needles for so many months, I am kind of ready to just be done with this project. Again, I don't think I'll be able to wear it right away, but we'll see. Overall, it is fitting pretty well. I did add the optional bust darts to it, and I have added in 2 sets of waist decreases along the body. It's not in the pattern, but I don't think I can make a top garment without doing any waist shaping. I need some waist shaping because I have a pear-shaped body, and boxy cropped things on my personal body, I'm not a fan of. So I always prefer my knits to taper, not being, you know, negative ease around the waist, but just having a little bit more of a taper, so that way it's not like flaring up on the back. That's just my personal preference. So I just did a slight decrease, just 2 sets, like I said, and it seems to be fitting pretty well so far. So we'll see. Maybe this will be done by the next podcast, maybe not, but it will definitely be done before the summer season is over. Okay, moving on to Christmas gift cast-ons. So I have quite ambitious Christmas gift knit plans. I know everybody has their own thoughts on whether they want to gift knit or not. Some people don't like it. I love it. I love to make things for the people that I love, so I'm going to continue doing so. So in those, just like a quick overview, I want to make a pair of socks and a pair of fingerless mitts for my son, a sweater for my mother, a beanie for my father. I want to make matching beanies for my son and for my little niece that is due in October, so they'll have matching Christmas beanies. I want to make my niece a pair of boucle little pants, little overalls that I found super cute. And I want to see if I can make accessory gift knits for my group of 4 friends from work. So I would like to give them an option. I'll probably, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like in our group text, send 4 different patterns: a beanie, a neck scarf, fingerless mitts, or a headband, and have them like tell me what they want and if they have a color preference. So I really would love to be able to achieve all of that, which means I need to get things done now, started now, because I know the sweater is a lot. The other things are smaller, but I don't like having deadlines. I don't like being pressured with my knits. Oh, I forgot to mention, I tried stick-on nails for an event the other day, and I can't seem to get one of them off. So if you just see I have one random fingernail, that is why. I'm so sorry. I know it looks tacky, but I don't want to. I don't want to rip off my own nail, which I might have to get this off, but we're going with it for now. So anyways, I decided to get started on my gift knits, and I started with my son. So I have made him the first sock in his pair of socks that he wanted. My son is 8 years old, and his foot is almost as big as mine. I made this pretty much I had him try on my last pair of knit socks that I made, which were the Selma socks, I think, from Summerly Knits. And I made mine in the adult small, which is a 56 stitch sock, and it fit him really well from like the top of the foot and the ankle. He has a bit of a wider foot than I do, so it fit him really well. And it was a smidge long, but I know he's not going to wear these until Christmas time, so I wanted to make them a little bit longer. So I gave him like an extra inch or 3/4 of an inch of toe space so that they do fit him well by the winter time. And this is the first time that I have made socks using DPNs. So here is the cuff for the second sock already. So I really wanted to try DPNs just for funsies. I usually use tiny circulars. I You know, I mentioned the knitting pet peeves. Another one of my knitting pet peeves is magic loop. I do not like magic loop. I just don't. It's a personal vendetta that I have against magic loop. DPNs, you know, most people would say they're more fiddly than magic loop, but they're way better than magic loop in my opinion. But anyways, that's a different story. But I was just curious to try. I originally wanted to use the DPNs because I thought I was going to have to make him a smaller sock than my own, and that was going to be a tight fit on the tiny circulars. But turns out I'm making the same size. So the yarn that I'm using for the variegated, which actually turned out really beautiful. This is also the first time I'm using like a striped, self-striping variegated type of colorway for a sock. The yarn is from Lana Grosa. It is their LandLust sock wool. So it's your classic sock wool sock yarn of 80% merino and 20% I think it's polyamide. So there's 20% synthetic fiber for reinforcement. And it is a really nice little variegated colorway with some purpley red. I mean, it's like a purpley brown almost, some lighter greens, darker greens, some blues, I mean, the main color is blue. So it's actually been a really fun yarn to work with. I really like that it is soft, but it's not buttery. I like my sock wools to have a little bit of texture to them so that they hold up better. And as a contrast, here on the top of the cuff, on the heel and on the toe, I decided to use this sock yarn from Stash, which is it is from Woolberry Fiber Co. It is their berry sock, which is a BFL sock yarn. So 85% BFL wool, blue face luster, 15% nylon. It is definitely a textured wool. It is not as like silky soft as a merino, but I have made quite a few pairs of socks in this yarn and they hold up really, really well because of that extra texture. I do not have a color name for it because I got it in a mystery pack. I got a pack of 4 skeins of this sock wool and I've just been mixing and matching them to make different pairs throughout the year. So that is what I made to make sure that his socks are really durable because he is rough on his socks. So I just did a classic vanilla sock, 2x2 rib for the cuff, heel, flap, and gusset in your classic toe. I really wanted to try toe up socks, but also I wanted to do DPN. So I decided let's try just one thing at a time. So I have cast on the second sock and it is going really well. So that is my first Christmas cast on. The second Christmas cast on that I have is a sweater for my mother. So I will be making the home sweater v-neck by Caidree. And this is what I have so far. I have a really big back panel. This is like, it's curling up, but I have quite a few inches going. This has been super fun to work with. So the home sweater v-neck, as the name says, it's a v-neck, it's a drop shoulder. It is made in a like open gauge with a fluffier yarn. So the yarn that I am using is Isager Alpaca 3, which is a 50% wool, 50% alpaca yarn. And this is like a really nice, like almost blue-green tone. I'll leave the name listed below. But it is technically a DK weight, but it definitely works up more so as a worsted. It is a chainette style, so it has a lot of give to it and it definitely floofs up, which I think is super appropriate for this gauge. The pattern gauge is 16 stitches, which is quite open, which is why you definitely need a loftier yarn so that it doesn't get super gapey. And recommended needle size is 5 millimeters. However, I did size up to a 5.5 millimeter. And as long as I'm being intentional about keeping my gauge really loose, it is working up really well. And I'm enjoying this. This has just been really relaxing to work on so far. I am making a size large, so it is definitely a bit bigger than what I am used to making. My mom is usually between a large and an extra large, but we decided to size down because she does have a larger bust. So we went off of her upper bust circumference. And I also know that alpaca grows quite a bit, so I'm expecting this to grow. So we decided to go for the large. So we'll see how that goes. But again, this is also a project that needs to be done for Christmas. And I've just been really enjoying it. It's been really relaxing. I mean, I haven't had to do any shaping, so it's just been back and forth stockinette so far. But I will slowly start to work on that. Right now I have a pretty good rhythm and I feel like I have upcoming plans to replace each project. So when I finish my Palm Springs tank, I want to cast on the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller. I'm going to be making that in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in this color that I have back here. When I finish my movement tee, I will be bringing back in my last languishing whip, which I actually have right over here. It is the Cloudy Days Vest by Alicia Plummer. I am working on the back panel, I think this is. It's also been on pause since like March, probably since March. So it's this really cool puff stitch. I'm actually really excited to bring this back out. I remember I was really enjoying working on that. This is going to be a fall piece. It's a DK weight vest in wool, so also a fall piece. When I finish up my son's socks, I will be casting on his fingerless mitts. That will also be for Christmas. And when I finish my mother's home sweater v-neck, I actually am ready to cast on for the Candelaria blouse by Tejedoraknits. I will be making that one in this Woolberry, I think it's a little too high up, this Woolberry linen, Berry Linen, I think it's called. It's like an alpaca linen silk blend with the contrasting color of this Knitting for Olive pure silk over here in this olive color. So that is a color work blouse. So I kind of have plans. I'm ready, but I'm holding back and I'm not casting on more things because I know I'm going to get more, just overwhelmed. But that is how all the whips are going. So slow and steady progress. I'm hoping that I'll have 1 or 2 finished objects by the next time that we sit and chat. And I have one really cute, fun acquisition to go over with you guys. It is actually on my board, so let me get it down. So Ruby and Roses did an in-stock update with the leftovers from her Downton Abbey collection. I have mentioned this before. I'm a huge fan of Downton Abbey. I'm a huge fan of the collection that Addie is her name, or Abby? I think her name is Addie. But I was a super big fan of the Downton Abbey collection that she did earlier this year. I loved so many of the colors. I got 3 of them, just 2 skeins in each. But I just could not resist when I saw her in-stock update. I wanted to buy so many more things, but I tried to just be strategic. And I picked up these 2 skeins. This is the color Free Spirits. So it's based off of the character Rose. If you've ever seen Downton Abbey, you know this is Rose's color, absolutely. So I have 1 skein of Rustic Rose DK, which is her 100% non-superwash merino, 4-ply, and then 1 skein of Rose Cloud, which is her Surrey base, which is 75% baby Surrey and 25% mulberry silk. So it is her yarn smells so good. So I am planning on holding these together to make this hood from Irene Lynn. I don't remember the name of the cowl right now, so I'll leave it on the screen. But it is worked up in a bulky gauge, and some of the yarn recommendations she gives, she has like a single strand of bulky weight, she has a strand of worsted and a lace weight, she has fingering held double plus fluffy strand, so she gives lots of different alternatives. I figured since alpaca, Surrey alpaca tends to be slightly thicker than like a mohair, I figured a DK with this mohair would be good. I think this would just be such a fun, bright, fun accessory to go with like neutral coats. Neutral coats, I guess, to just be a really fun, cute accessory. And also really practical for me because I don't tend to wear beanies because of, as you can see, my curls are here. They take up space. So whenever I wear a beanie, everything gets crushed and then I can't wear my hair down until I wash it again, which can be a couple days. So beanies are just difficult for me to wear. I can't just like wear it and then when I get to work take it off. No, my hair's ruined for the rest of the day. So I have to fully commit to the beanie. So I figured this hood would be a really good alternative for like chillier mornings and it's easier to take on and off. So this is going to be a winter plan. This color just makes me happy. I'm not a pink girl. You know how that like meme saying situation has been going around on the internet, like my boyfriend healed me and now I wear pink. I don't have a boyfriend, so I have healed myself and now I'm starting to feel comfortable wearing pink again because for a long time I dismissed it as too girly, too feminine. I was like a grungy, moody, mucky colors, but now I'm learning to embrace the pink again. As you can see, I have some pink over here now too. So this is the only acquisition that I have. I have a small order coming in from Knit Picks, which should have been delivered like 2 days ago, but somehow the package is still in Kentucky or something. So that one will be in my next podcast. But that is all I have for you. So super fun little acquisition, some Christmas knits, some summer knits, a bit discombobulated as far as my mix of projects, but it was fun nonetheless. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me. Of course, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing so that way you don't miss out on any future videos. My next video will be my flock preparation video, which I'm very excited to film, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, happy knitting. Bye.